You look at yourself in the mirror every single day, but one day you feel it. What you're seeing isn't really you. It started with a distorted emergency alert at 3:17 a.m. that blared from every screen in Alex Carter's quiet suburban home, even the ones that weren't plugged in. Do not trust your reflection. At first, he thought it was a prank, maybe a YouTube hoax or a late-night hack. But as the same cryptic message repeated across devices with images of warped, twitching human faces flashing momentarily between static, his gut began to twist. Alex had just moved to Maple Ridge, Wisconsin, a small, wooded town with wide roads, few people, and an eerie kind of stillness at night. It was supposed to be a fresh start. He was escaping the burnout of city life and wanted somewhere peaceful to finish his novel. What he found instead was a nightmare that crept in slowly, silently, and never truly showed its face. A week after the emergency alert, Alex discovered an old cardboard box in the attic of his rented home. It was buried under yellowed insulation, coated in dust. Inside were VHS tapes labeled with strange bureaucratic titles like Department of Alternate Awareness and Substitution Protocol, Case B, 1972. Curious, he borrowed an old VCR from a thrift shop and decided to watch one. What began as an outdated government PSA, complete with cheesy music and monotone narration, slowly unraveled into something much darker. The narrator began describing signs of infiltration by alternates, reflections that mimic but fail to fully emulate human behavior, doppelgängers that watch, wait, and whisper from behind the glass. At first, Alex scoffed. The tape ended with the chilling line, "If you suspect your reflection is not your own, avoid all contact and do not acknowledge it." That night, as Alex brushed his teeth, something felt off. The bathroom mirror, fogged from the shower, cleared just enough for him to see his reflection smiling. Only he wasn't. It was subtle, a twitch of the lips when his face was still. He blinked hard, leaned in, but it was gone. He laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, maybe. Stress. But it kept happening in mirrors, in windows, in black screens. His reflection would linger a second too long, breathe differently, move slightly out of sync. And it wasn't just him. His neighbor, an older woman named Mrs. Laird, told him she'd been hearing voices coming from her TV when it was unplugged. 2 days later, she vanished. No signs of struggle, just a broken mirror and a trail of glass shards leading toward the woods. The police chalked it up to mental health. "This town's got history," one officer muttered. "People see things, hear things. You just gotta ride it out." Alex started recording himself. Video evidence. But nothing ever looked wrong in playback. In real time, he'd see the reflection smile again, whisper again. On camera. Nothing. He stopped trusting his eyes, stopped trusting anything with a reflection, covered every mirror, turned off all screens. Still, he'd wake up with the TV on, flickering between static and frames of distorted faces, mouths too wide, eyes blacked out, frozen in silent screams. Then came the dreams, or what he thought were dreams. He'd see himself walking into his room, standing at the foot of the bed, whispering things he couldn't remember upon waking. He'd wake up with mud on the carpet. Once, he found muddy footprints inside the mirror, like someone had been walking behind the glass. He stopped sleeping altogether, grew paranoid, even started locking the bathroom door when he used the mirror. The tapes kept reappearing. No matter how many times he burned them, trashed them, smashed them, They always returned, clean, rewound, waiting on the kitchen table. Eventually, he stopped leaving the house. Friends stopped calling. His social media turned eerie. He'd post strange, glitchy videos of his reflection saying things he wasn't, captions like, "It's almost ready. He watches when I sleep." One post simply read, "I am no longer alone in here." And then silence. 2 weeks later, a power company worker doing routine maintenance near his house reported seeing someone inside, someone who looked exactly like Alex, watching from the upstairs window with a wide, frozen grin. But when authorities entered, the house was empty. All the mirrors were shattered, every surface that could reflect, covered, except one. In the center of the living room was the bathroom mirror, propped upright on a chair, untouched, and carved into the wood beneath it was a message, scratched over and over until the grooves dug deep. "Don't look at it. It's not you anymore." Alex was never found. But last week, a video surfaced on a now-deleted YouTube channel with no subscribers, no description, and no comments. In it, a man who looks exactly like Alex stares into a handheld mirror and says, "This is my last message. If you're seeing this, it's already watching you, and it never forgets a face." The screen cuts to black. Then, just for a second, a still frame of your reflection appears, watching you back. It was a cold October evening in 2017 when Julia and her 10-year-old son Nathan first heard the whispers coming from their hallway mirror. Quiet, like static at first, but growing clearer every night. "Let me in." They lived in a quiet New Jersey suburb, far from the chaos of the city, where strange things rarely happened. Until one evening when Nathan asked his mom, "Why does my other mommy cry when you're asleep?" Julia thought he was dreaming, until he started drawing pictures of their home with two versions of her. One smiling, one with her face stretched unnaturally long and black tears pouring from hollow eyes. Soon Nathan began sleepwalking, always toward the bathroom mirror, and would just stand there, staring. Julia caught him once whispering to it, and when she asked who he was talking to, he simply said, "She says you don't belong here." Concerned, Julia set up a baby monitor facing the hallway. What she saw the next morning nearly made her drop the device. At 3:42 a.m., Nathan walked to the mirror again, and standing behind his reflection was another woman, identical to Julia, but with a stiff, twisted smile, unmoving as Nathan turned and walked away. The reflection stayed, staring into the camera. Julia contacted local authorities and even a psychologist, but no one believed her. One day, she woke up to find Nathan missing. The house was locked, windows shut, but on the hallway mirror, written in fog, were the words, "Now there's only one of you." Nathan's drawings were gone. His photos were blank. His bedroom was completely cleaned out, like he never existed. No record of his birth remained. And yet every now and then, when Julia passes a mirror, she hears his voice calling softly behind the glass. "Mommy, don't listen to her. She's not you."
Marcus worked the night shift as a security guard at a rural church just outside Montana City, an old stone structure surrounded by thick trees and stories of hauntings that locals treated more like jokes than warnings. But 1 week into the job, Marcus noticed something strange. Every night at exactly 2:33 a.m., the security camera feed from the west hallway would cut to static for 12 seconds. Always 12. The first few times, he dismissed it as a wiring issue. But then came the night when the static returned with sound. Low whispering, layered beneath a faint, warbled hymn that no one had sung there for decades. He rewound the footage over and over, and with each play, the whispers became more distinct. Watching from the other side. When Marcus finally decided to check the hallway in person, he found nothing unusual, except that the church's long wall-length mirror, used during Sunday services, had fresh handprints on the inside of the glass from the other side. That same night, a figure appeared in the camera feed. A man dressed like Marcus, same uniform, same flashlight, but with a crooked neck and empty glowing eyes. The duplicate walked the same path Marcus had walked earlier, but stopped to stare directly at the camera and smiled. When Marcus reviewed the live feed, he saw himself, still standing in the hallway, but he wasn't. He was in the control room, frozen, watching. For a terrifying moment, both versions of him existed at once. Then the feed cut out. Since that night, no one's heard from Marcus. The church is now closed, the mirror shattered, and the final frame from the security footage, now passed around deep web forums, shows two versions of Marcus staring at each other in the reflection. One smiling, one screaming.